here. We actually are making it happen. You came all the way to Manhattan for me.
I did, all the way from Queens.
I know.
It's was it a long distance friendship or is it a medium distance?
I feel like in New York, if you live in Brooklyn and I live in Harlem, it's the same as if you live in like Boston or California.
That's a stretch.
It's in terms of the frequency with which I see friends of mine who live in Brooklyn. It's basically the same as friends of mine who like live in Boston.
I guess that
or
is
DC.
fair. It does feel like an entirely different state because you're at the top of the island.
I'm at the top of the island, and
Yeah.
you're separated by a whole river
Yeah. So,
or stream or whatever you call it.
but we made it work.
We made it work. We did it because that's what friends do when they care enough to talk for the whole world to listen to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, number one, welcome. Hello. Hi. I think I tried to get you to come and do this with me a while back, but
Yeah.
then I got married and didn't do this for months.
Congratulations about that. As well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did the thing. But anyway, this is Art is Not Sacred, as you know, because you were here when I decided to do this in the first place. You are Alex.
I am.
Alex Robinson, one of my newest closest friends. I think of all my closest friends, you're probably the newest addition to my close friends.
So you haven't made any new close friends in the last 2 to 3 years then?
They're not in that top tier. You haven't gotten you made it into the top tier rather quickly. Also an incredible artist, writer, filmmaker, now actor and producer, whom I've admired for years and years. How old are you? I
just turned 25.
25. You are incredible, as I'm sure anyone who watches this already knows or will know if this brings you to Alex. But I'm a huge fan of you. Would you do the world a service to just tell everyone a little bit about what you do and who you are?
Yes. So
Maybe a fit check.
A fit check. I have this gray waffle shirt. I think it's from Uniqlo or Uniqlo. I don't know the proper way to say it, but I also have these barrel jeans that are my girlfriend's from Old Navy, I think. And I have these socks that say "Welcome to Queens." You can't really tell, but they're great. I'm a writer, director, actor, editor, and I dabble in producing as well. I just like to tell stories that feel human and real and a little messy, probably. So
Hell yeah.
That's me.
Oh, and here's Albie. All right. Well, so this show, I've told you before, Art is Not Sacred. Basically, I just want to talk about art, what it's like being an artist and a creative, living in New York City, chasing this dream, sort of working outside of the 9-to-5 world, and like living in an unorthodox lifestyle to be able to chase a dream. I think it's becoming increasingly hard for people to do what we're doing. And still we're doing it. So like, where does that come from you? How did you get into wanting to be a creative and live this lifestyle and tell these stories? Why are you still doing it? What are the ambition, and how's it going in the industry? That's kind of like what we'll all go through.
Amazing.
But before we do any of that, tell me what Art is Not Sacred means to you as a concept.
I think it's interesting because I think for most of my time as a creative, I've been really precious about the things that I make, and to a fault sometimes, where I feel like I can hold myself back from creating something if I feel it's not perfect. So when you say art is not sacred, I feel like what it really means is like art is, it's not that it's not special, but it shouldn't be so protected that you feel you can't experiment and fail a little bit sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Not only does it make sense, I think it's really important to say.
Yeah.
Because I still, I'm 6 years older than you, and I'm still figuring that part out of like, what is worth sharing? Why does my voice matter at all? Why should I be so self-centered as to think anyone should watch this or see this or hear this or whatever? And still, I make it anyway. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I'll put it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where are you in that journey?
I've been trying to forego my perfectionist mindset for the past year or so. After I finished my short film, that took so much like mental energy and so much attention to detail that I want it to kind of shift gears a little bit and focus on stuff that is easier to make, more one-off type of projects that just I don't feel as attached to. With the short film was like, this is my name, this is like, who I feel like who I am, which is not, but like it felt like that when I was making it, versus now I'm trying to create. It feels more of like creating content a little bit, versus like my short film, which was took a lot of time, but I'm trying to make things that are fun and can bring people to my work, so that way when I'm ready to make something that requires more mental energy again, I have more of an audience for it. So right now I'm trying not to be too precious about anything that I make and just get back to why I started creating in the first place, is just because it's fun and I enjoy it.
Hell yeah. What is the part of it that's fun for you?
Just doing something that only takes at most a couple weeks of work is super fun, because I don't have to get super attached to it. Do you know what I mean? I can play a little bit more. There was like a video I made a couple weeks ago, and it was like remaking the All American Rejects music video to Move Along. And I just kind of, I did it exactly how it was filmed. Like I switched outfits 8 or 9 times in different locations, and then I cut that together. It took me about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks probably, from start to finish. And then once I was done, I was done. I was like ready to move forward from that. But for those 2 weeks, I was super energized to make it, because when else am I going to, I'm going to do this once and then I'll be done. And it's just an itch in my brain that I have to scratch almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I feel like I often have an idea that is objectively, for lack of a better word, like stupid or silly.
Yeah.
Not meaningful in any real way. But it tickles me, like it's funny.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the idea. But I convince myself, like, do I really want to invest this much time, even 2 weeks, to make this silly thing? Or is it just a funny idea and I'll just continue on with my life and have it tickle my head when I thought of it and then just move on? So what is the moment for you that you decide this idea is one worth spending 2 weeks on?
That's a good question. I honestly don't know. It's if I get a feeling about it, I will just go full steam ahead. I'm pretty 100% or nothing. So if I don't feel attached to it, I won't move forward with it at all. But if there's some part of me that's like, no, I think it is good enough. I think it just might be, then I will do it. And once I have my mind set on an idea, it's gonna be pretty hard to stop me until it's seen through. It's a blessing and a curse, I would say. But I don't know if there's like a one decider that makes me think something is worth making or not. I guess it's just how excited I feel about it. If I feel it's worthy of making it, I'll make it. I think it goes back to our being sacred. Like if I feel it's worth making it, but it's not worth the time, then maybe I'm just being precious about it.
So
or vice versa, rather. Actually,
Yeah.
If I feel it's not if I feel it's worth the time, but it's not quite as good of an idea as I would want it to be, then maybe I'm being precious about it. Does that make sense?
And so you'll sort of just shut that little voice in the back of your head up and be like, let's just move ahead and make it anyway.
Yeah,
And
but
then if I
that's
don't
that I'm trying to get away from that though, honestly, because that's me being precious, and me being precious costs me making making stuff for fun sometimes.
Yeah. So you really just say like, I'm just gonna make it.
Yeah, I'm trying to more. That's like my sort of my.
That's kind of like where I'm at too with anything I'm doing. I just I want to get to a place where I care less about what people are gonna think about it.
Sure.
You know, because I usually, especially the stuff that I typically make is usually pretty, vulnerable. It's poetry. It's animation about like a poem that's very specific to something I experience, and it's sacred, like in certain ways. And I feel very personally attached to it. And then if I think that it's stupid, or if someone else thinks it's stupid, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really trying to get past that space of like, because I don't really make funny content that often. I make like more serious stuff.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get past that place of the critical mind, the inner critic.
It's also just, it's so easy to compare yourself to other creatives like on the internet, and like I tend to make things more lighthearted, and then I look at people that only post like every 2 months and it's very mysterious and they have a lot of aura, and I'm like, that's like a filmmaker that they're what are they doing? How are they paying their bills? What are they up to? And I'm like, maybe I'll be more like that, but that's not who I am. And so that's I think that's also just like naturally a part of maturing and growing up. But I think it's so easy for us to compare ourselves to other people on the internet. It's just you can keep scrolling all day long and think of people that you want to be closer to. But it's when we lean into our strengths, you make more serious stuff, and that's a great thing. We need more. Honestly, the internet's full of silly stuff. It's kind of nice to have people that are making art that's like more, I don't know, real.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. Yeah, I think you also do that though, because you make silly things, but they're not silly in reality. They're like
no, they're not.
They're veiled with a layer of funny to help make it easier to digest the serious subject matter that you're usually dealing with.
That's me to a T.
Yeah, heck yeah.
A veil.
Yeah,
veil
just
funny.
Just a shield that you wear, like a Kevlar vest.
Yeah.
Why is humor the thing that you lean toward?
I don't know. I feel like it's like the classic trope of like a kid who probably had to grow up a little bit fast and then, leaned on humor. I don't know. I just gravitate towards comedy. And that's not me saying I've had like a super tumultuous life. I think that's like what I gravitated towards. I love an easy watch, and I don't think that like devalues my artistic opinion or anything. I just love things that are funny, lighthearted, calm, make you feel good. That's my vibe.
And then sneak in a little bit of that.
A
little hurt under there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you have a favorite project that you've made?
Ooh, that's great. I really never thought about this, which is interesting. Let me think about this for 2 seconds. Can you edit this to make it shorter?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just
going to slowly zoom in on your face.
Okay. No, let me think. You know what I'd really like, actually? It's not so much a project, but it's like a series of projects, is around the time that I met you when I was at 368, and I was making those YouTube cinematic storytelling vlogs that were kind of like, they weren't what was really happening in my life, but it was sort of like a spoof on it. Like I would do the Q&As, and I would do them in like a stand-up comedy manner. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And just like I would like talk to camera and then cut to a sketch. So it'd be like vlog to sketch. That was a lot of fun. And I watched those back and I was like, wow, I was actually making those once a month, which was crazy, because if you actually look at how much editing is in it, it's wild. It's bonkers. I don't think I could do it now. I don't think I have the mental energy. So I'm very impressed by myself from the output and just the execution of all of those. It was like 6 month stretch.
And
videos.
just creative output, right? I mean, you weren't getting paid to do those. You were just doing them, like
just
in your free time.
I was just truly
paying
so excited.
Paying the bills and making those.
Yeah. I was just so excited to be creating at that point. And I'm still excited to create now. It's just a different type of excitement. I think I was still in a little bit of like not a la land, but I was, romanticizing New York City more at that time of my life.
Well, we had also, we should say, we met in a very specific, like, I think, differently, but very specific chapter of both of our lives, which was this place, 368.
Yeah.
Which, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, which most people probably don't, it was like this sort of secret, undiscussed, like, creative hub in the city.
A cult.
It was a little cult. This cute little cult.
A creative cult.
Yeah, of just all of these creators that all went to the same place. Word of mouth, if you were lucky enough to like meet someone who would bring you to this place, and then you were all of a sudden presented with all of all of the opportunities for connection, all of uh, the technical equipment, the space, the editing, and just like having like just a community of people who were really freaking motivated
Yeah.
to make things.
It was lightning in a bottle. And I got to be like a little spark in it.
Yeah, well, you were a big spark in it, I think. And you came in at what, like 22, 23?
May 2022, I moved to the city, but September 2022.
September 2022.
Yes, September 2022.
Yeah, which is so wild to think about, because that time, it was very short. It was like maybe 3 years or something that we were there, or 2 years.
Less than that, because it shut down. I mean, well,
I guess it shut down.
This winter will be 2 years.
Yeah, so 2024.
So only
shut down.
about 2 years.
Yeah, so we were only there about 2 years. I went in 2021 is when I started going there. But I met all of these people who are all like, we all were in this one place for a brief period of time, producing like the maximum amount of like artistic output.
Yes.
And helping each other with all these projects, and then it was just gone, and everybody disbanded and went and moved on to their own things. It was like a weird chapter where you kind of get thrust into the city, especially for you, because I had been in the city for since 2014 already, without a home like that, without like a creative community.
Yeah.
But to be thrust into the city and then simultaneously thrust into a place like that.
Yeah.
And sort of build your network and your creative pace from that space, and then get thrown out, you're already like
already ahead,
making things.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that I was able to be a part of the dynamics of 368 towards the end too. Like, I feel like I was there during a very special chapter of it.
Yeah.
And I'm very, I was just, it was amazing. Like, I feel like I had a head start, like you said, when I left, when 368 shut down, and I was left with just myself now. Of course, I had my friends and all the wonderful people I met there, but like, ultimately, it was me. It was like, I couldn't produce the same videos that I was just talking about. I couldn't produce those anymore because I didn't have access to a backdrop anymore. I didn't have access to people at every corner that I can ask to hold the camera, the lighting equipment, like all these things that I didn't think about until I didn't have 368 anymore, that I was like, okay, well, now I have to really redefine, or not even redefine, because I think I was still defining it, but like continue to figure out who I am without this major resource that I had.
Yeah.
But still, I owe so much to being in that space. Like, almost everyone I know, almost every opportunity I have is because of 368.
That's wild.
So crazy.
It was truly like, what did you call it? Lightning in a bottle. It really was. In terms of the stuff that you make, I'm backtracking for a second, but in terms of the stuff that you make, what is the subject matter that you feel like you most gravitate toward in terms of the type of stories that you tell?
Yeah. Like I said, I like telling stories that just feel human and real. Like, I really gravitate towards dysfunction, probably a little bit. Like, I love characters that are very rough around the edges, I would say. Like, those are the people that, I guess internally, I don't know if I like come across like that, but inside I feel like that a little bit. So like I and I'm aware of that. That's why I say like I think inside I feel a little bit like that sometimes. So when I see characters that are just imperfect, not that I'm come across as perfect. I think that's what. Okay, you know what I mean though.
I know what you mean.
I love that, and that just feels authentic to me. And that's like my biggest word that I love to push forward with anything I'm making is like, as long as it feels authentic, I've succeeded. So dramedy, comedy, anything along those lines that can make you feel good, but also make you feel something as well. That's where I like to live.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like so many artists, and we talked about it a little bit before, but like the perfectionism attitude of, you kind of beat the authenticity out of your work when you try to make it good enough for people to feel comfortable enough that people are going to resonate with it, or are going to like it, or not make fun of you for it, or not lambast it on social media or whatever. You kind of tweak and work so hard to make sure that the thing that you put out is polished and sanitized and avoids any kind of controversial subject matter or whatever. And by the time you actually end up getting it out, the general you, not you, it's kind of dead. Like, it doesn't have the heart that it had when it was loose and messy. You know, like some of my favorite stuff that you've made it's from a technical standpoint, it's very tight, but from like an emotional standpoint, it's messy. Mm-hmm. You know, it feels like you are figuring something out with me as I'm watching it. And I said that I wanted to talk about it, but there was that one piece in particular where you decided to go to the town where your dad grew up.
Yeah. And
make this little documentary of you going to experience his home. And throughout the documentary, you find his, I call it a documentary, I guess it's more like a vignette, but you know, you go to his childhood home, and you gear yourself up to go and get a tour to see where he grew up, and then the owners just don't let you in, and you just had to abort the whole situation completely. The whole part.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, but I bring that up that like, you know, in the making of it, it's so clear that like it didn't go how you intended it to go in terms of whatever the cathartic experience you were probably anticipating to like get to go and do that, and then you had to pivot completely, but then you still put it out in a way that felt like, oh, this is so like you said, authentic and emotionally raw, and this is what real life looks like. You don't get the magic you know, period at the end of the sentence every time you want it, just because you want it, you know. But how was that piece, what did you title it?
This is a film for my father. I couldn't think of a better title. It's
pretty accurate title. But yeah, how did that come about, and like why did you feel like you needed to make it, and what did you get from making it?
I genuinely, the process, grieving it's not a lateral sort of process. It's very like up, down, around, here and there. So I feel like in my grieving process, I was feeling super disconnected from my dad. I felt like I hadn't cried for him in months at that point, maybe even like a year, which was weird, because I was like, at one point, feel like I couldn't stop crying about him. So to go from that extreme to the other, I'm like, well, what? I must be disconnected. I must need to do something to feel closer to him. So I decided, you know, I'll go see his childhood homes, but I also was thinking, well, why don't I make a little film about it? Because he's ultimately the reason I am a filmmaker. Like, he kind of gave me the wings, I guess, that I needed to start. So I was like, this just feels like a perfect way to feel a little closer to him. So I'll make a little film about him. We'll see how it goes. So I didn't have much of a plan. I didn't even know what the video was going to look like. We rented a car. We drove to Middle Village. Oh, Middle Island. I'm thinking of Middle Village.
Middle Village.
We drove down there, and I just was gonna go up to the house and kind of see what happened. It obviously didn't go how I thought, but I also didn't know how I thought it would go. Truly, I didn't go up there thinking like they must give me a tour. Like, I knew there was a possibility that I wouldn't get the tour. I think I was just hoping that something magical would happen and be like, oh my God, yeah, we knew the previous owners from 40 years ago, 50 years. Of course, yeah, come on in. Well, you want to see his bedroom? Like, you know, like, so I think getting there, filming it, reality hitting me in the face of like, yeah, to be fair to them, like, if a random stranger came up to me in today's time and wanted to come inside my house, with a camera, I'd probably be like, let me think about that. I don't know. So yeah, there was nothing that I was specifically expecting. I just wanted to feel more connected. And I think going there was like kind of an emotional slap in the face, where it was like, excuse me, there's no answer. There's no like puzzle piece that I was looking for the puzzle piece. I was looking for this, you know, specific thing that was going to fill this missing part of me that I was feeling at the time. But that didn't exist. It was more so just a feeling that I was chasing. And I think making the film is what kind of filled that hole for me, is just experiencing it and creating something that reminded me of him. So
yeah. How long did it take to make that?
Most of my things that I make for YouTube take like a month.
A month?
Yeah, I would say about a month.
Okay.
Probably.
So I think even dedicating a month to make your dad sort of the main focus of your time for an entire month, I'm sure in and of itself is like is like this. Oh, I haven't thought much about him or cried much about him in this amount of time.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to take this entire month to like make him a focal point in my day every day.
Yeah. And it was Father's Day. Well, it was June. So my thought was like, I'll do this kind of in celebration of Father's Day because I think this is probably a common experience for people that have lost a parent, but like on Mother's or Father's Day, you see all your friends posting about their parents, and I love to take any opportunity to post about my dad, not because I would want sympathy, but because I feel like that's how I am able to, that's one of the ways I'm able to keep his memory alive. So it was the 5th Father's Day without him, and I don't know, I'm kind of a numbers girl, I guess. I was like, 5 years feels pretty crazy, so I'll make this it sounds weird to say, but in a way, in celebration of 5 years. He's not with us. It's not that we celebrate that he's not with us, but we celebrate the life that he lived when he was here.
Yeah.
So.
And that he is with you, kind of like every day,
Yeah.
My friend Grant said something after he lost his dad. I asked him if it sort of made him reevaluate his relationship with like a religion or with God or anything like that. And he said this thing that blew my mind, and I loved it. But he said that the idea that his dad is like up somewhere looking down on him and like in heaven or whatever provides him so much less comfort than when he looks in the mirror and sees that he looks like his dad, or his dad was an architect. So like when he goes around the town where his dad built a lot of buildings and sees the buildings, just knowing that like his dad's DNA is like literally in every cell of his body.
Yeah.
He's like, that provides me so much more comfort knowing that I can see him in the mirror when I look at myself than to think that he's somewhere,
That's beautiful.
And I think about it all the time because it is this true reality of like, nobody leaves, nobody can leave.
Yeah.
We're stuck here forever.
Right.
Our
legacies carry on through each other.
Through the people you make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Talk about an art project.
It's pretty crazy.
Making
I have
a
my
person.
dad's exact ears, like exact to a T.
You've measured them and everything.
Yes. No. I haven't measured them, but I'm like fairly certain, probably 90% sure that they are the exact same size. They were the exact same. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel that, as I'm getting older, people used to always tell me I look a lot like my mom. And as I've gotten older, people start telling me like, oh, you look a lot more like your dad.
Yeah, really?
And, oh yeah. And I see it all the time.
I think
now.
I can see it too.
I have the same laugh as my mom. Every time I laugh, I like think of her because I sound exactly like her when I laugh. But it's weird the things that you notice about yourself that you're like, oh, I know exactly where this came from.
Yeah.
I have this. It's not entirely random, you know, or just or learned,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to think about like you like you said that you developed this sort of humor to coat pain mentality, assuming in the midst of like dealing with pain. And and you develop this thing, especially at a younger age, when you sort of build how you see the world based on the experiences that you've recently had.
Yeah.
And it comes out in like every single piece of work that you make is like this entire perspective or like tone that kind of colors how you create stories,
Yeah.
Whereas I like my parents are both still here, and I have certain things, fucking hardships or whatever, but ultimately, comparatively, not that bad. And you can like my paintings are very, very silly.
Yeah.
I feel like most of the things that are painful in the work that I make are all like dealing with the ugly thoughts that like trap you in your head, you know, the things that you just like can't get away from. And I don't know about you, but I have like zero ability to tune out the 40 thoughts that happen in my head at the same time.
Yeah,
You know?
no, I'm not too good at that either.
Like I'm very much like yelling at my own self to be like, shut up so I can focus,
Yeah.
please, you know? But making art the way that I do, be it acting or writing or painting or whatever, is like the only thing that helps me tune that shit out.
Yeah.
Or like exorcise it in some way.
Yeah.
I imagine you feel similarly, but like
I definitely do.
what is the through line for why you make the work that you make and where you want it to go?
Yeah.
You know?
The through line, I mean,
I would say those are two separate questions. Let's
Yeah.
separate them. Why do you make the work that you make?
I don't see the world through rose-colored glasses. So when I make films, it's almost like I'm putting them on. But you still know that they're not perfect underneath the surface. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I need to make sure these things I say, because sometimes I say them, I'm like, wait, I don't know if that actually sounds. I just don't see things as perfect, which is okay. I think it's good.
Well, it's true.
So I like to make things that don't feel perfect, but feel as like an aid to that thought almost. So when you watch it, you acknowledge that things are not perfect, like as the deeply human experience that I chase when I make things, but we can still feel good, right? So that's kind of my through line for the stories that I tell, but also kind of how I feel as a person is like, I acknowledge the world is a crazy place, life is hard, but when I get to make films, I get to kind of put a little bit of a, not a mask, but a protector up when I make these films. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel complete. And I think that's at least the hope that I try to portray through the stuff that I make.
Is to then like give the audience that same
feeling. Because I'd imagine the people that enjoy my stuff feel similar to how I feel about life.
Yeah.
I think most people probably do, but I also do think there are people in the world that kind of live a little bit in like, you know, this sort of ignorance is bliss sort of mindset. Like I'm very much like, no, things suck.
Yeah.
So let's make it suck less. Let's make things we love. Let's make things that make people feel good, even if it makes them feel a little bit sad first. You know?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of I went in a lot of different ways to answer your question there, but yeah.
No, I think that's exactly. I mean that's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
So where do you want it to? Well, before we go to where you want to go, can we talk about Meatball for a little bit because you just made this project, which is I remember when you had written it and you were unsure if you even wanted to tell this story. So you were like, do I really want to bring like my personal shit into this story? Do I want to make a whole film about coming out? Like, do I want to do this? Am I making it too much of a satire? Like, I remember when you wrote it being like, is this worth making? So when you decided to make it, like, what was the deciding? Well, tell us, just say what the plot is first, or just the general idea of the story.
So Meatball follows Cece as she comes out to her traditional Italian-American family all during a Sunday dinner. So the whole film takes place at the dining room table during dinner. It's about 12 minutes long. It's a lot of ping-pongy type of conversation. And it's not my personal coming out story. It's more of like a super dramatic what-if thought that I had when I was coming out to my family. So that's what that's kind of the way I describe it.
So yeah, so what was the point where you decided like, no, I'm gonna make it?
I think it was from a filmmaking standpoint, I wanted to really challenge myself, and I felt the most comfortable challenging myself with Meatball. Because it was a story that, while not true, felt important and felt like I can offer a really great and real perspective to it. Excuse me. So that's kind of, yeah, I would say that's why I did it, is to challenge myself, and also because I thought I could do it justice.
And so far it has been accepted into how many festivals?
I think 7 fests so far, 6 or 7 fests so far, and it's been nominated for 4 awards and it's won 3.
That's freaking awesome.
It's pretty cool. I've never done the circuit before, so to never have done it, I was not sure what to expect at all. Awards were never on my radar. It was never a goal. It was more just like submit, see what happens, learn how it works to hit the next one stronger. But it's been doing well, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's a damn good movie.
Can I curse?
Yeah, you can curse.
Fuck.
Fuck. So it's gotten into 7. It's been nominated for 4 awards. It's won 3. You still have more festivals that you're probably waiting to hear back from. Ones that I'm sure you're maybe scheduled to go to.
Yes. So we had a lot of fests from like say September to October, or really like August to October-ish. There was a whole slew of fests. Now we're in like a little bit of a quieter period, and then top of next year it'll pick back up again, and we'll do our final stretch of fests before it's released publicly online to YouTube in springtime. So I'm really excited about that, because I feel like once it's on YouTube publicly, it's like officially done in my mind. I think like it's still not done, even though I've been working on it for so long. At this point I'm like, it's still not done. There's still work to be done. So I'm looking forward to that, so I can like kind of complete it in my brain and then confidently move forward on to the next project.
Which is?
Don't quite know yet. It's going to be either another short. It'll probably be another short. I want to make sure I'm like taking appropriate steps and not jumping the gun, because I feel like I learned so much on the first one that I would do differently on the next one.
Yeah.
So I think before I would take the step into feature world, I'd probably want to do another short, but with the things I've learned from Meatball. What
are some of the things you learned?
Oh, God. Hire a producer.
Yeah.
Hire a producer. Just do less in general. Like I was doing a lot for Meatball, and I didn't need to be doing a lot. And I think I could have, to be honest, saved myself some money if I had hired more people, which sounds crazy, but it's true. I think because I didn't hire a producer, I ended up, through inexperience, spending more than I needed to. Had to end up coming out of pocket some costs for the film. I also would probably, it's a tough one. I think I definitely love using like amazing cameras, but I do think for the next one, depending on the subject matter of the film, I probably wouldn't use an RELX Mini again. Like that was a pretty intense camera to use, and I was kind of going for an early 2000s feel to the film, and I was watching it back and I'm like, it's got the feel, but it doesn't really have the look. It looks really nice. In a way, I kind of honestly wish it looked like a little more gritty almost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that early sort of like glow. It was glowy. It definitely looked beautiful. Christina Dobre, our DP, she did a fantastic job. But I do think from a director's standpoint, I would have probably used just not as nice of a camera. Still a good camera, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like maybe what I'm trying to say is like shoot on film.
I mean, maybe that sounds a lot more expensive.
Yes. But yeah. I think that's like what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah. Okay. So that what else? Is there anything else? I mean, use this question as an opportunity to be like any filmmakers who are making things. Like, what are some like big no-nos or like things that you've learned that you're like, all right, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm definitely going to do that next time. Other than hire a producer, maybe pick the camera based on the vibe.
Yeah, I think I'll probably act a little bit less in my next one. I do love to act, but I think I enjoyed being behind the monitor a lot. And I think since I was in front of it so much of the 2 days that we were shooting, I didn't get to offer my full thoughts on every take. I didn't get to really analyze some of the actors' movements and body language and things like that if I were just behind the monitor, just looking at the way they were truly acting, not being in the moment as an actor, then I think it would ultimately look slightly different. Not necessarily better. I mean, I really love how it came out, but it ultimately would feel and look a little different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I would just love to have more of that directing experience for the next one. Not necessarily a learning, but a finding.
You wore what, 4 hats on this or 3 hats?
I wrote it, I produced it, I directed it, I starred in it, I edited it. I was the post-production producer. I was doing all the I've submitted to all the film festivals. I did quite literally everything that I could do.
Yeah. So like 8 or 9 hats minimum.
Yeah, too many. And that is absolutely my biggest lesson of the entire film that I don't want to do for the next one. So.
Yeah. Do you have ideas for like the subject matter you want to tackle in the next project you want to do, or like things that are percolating that you're interested in thinking about? Or
I'm really fascinated by friendship right now. I think there's so much untapped potential that I could, lean into with a story about friendship. I think I could write authentically to grief, but I very lightly touched on that in Meatball. It was a very short-lived theme, but it kind of crept in there towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think I could probably do something really authentic to grief. I don't know. I just love gritty. I love gritty stories. I love messy stuff. So anything that falls under that umbrella, I'm open-minded to. I think I've just been trying to take in as a creative, just like absorb instead of thinking of actual ideas. I'm like, anything that excites me a little bit, I'll put it in my notes, stuff like that.
Do you feel like you are still deeply in like a learning chapter, or do you feel like you're exiting learning chapter and more like this now sort of building chapter?
Definitely. That's kind of been ultimately it's a great thing because it means I'm improving, but it's also very daunting because I don't exactly know what steps to take next. I can only assume what is the right thing to do, but I have exited that phase of my life and career where I'm like, you're always a student. You always should be a student. When you stop learning is when you think you know enough, and when you think you know enough, you clearly know nothing. So I'm always willing to learn more, and I love to learn. So I'll never stop. But I think I've learned enough at this point that I'm ready to take those things and kick the next stage into full gear. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that and use Meatball to do that as well. Like, how do I leverage this wonderful film that I've made to make more films? And how do I use the things that I've learned to improve on films I make in the future? And just like in general, any freelance work I do, like overall, I've learned so much over the past 2 to 3 years. So I'm ready to to build on that. Exactly.
Yeah. Because I feel I asked you that because I kind of know that. I mean, I think that you're in this sort of building phase now, and I was hoping that you would say it because I remember, when you first started, when I met you and you were making the things that you were making, you had this sort of hesitance to step into like leadership roles on projects, and you like let people make decisions with you or for you, or in like to kind of despite what you wanted, but like they were loud about it, so you would just go that way and then kick yourself out later to be like, damn. And I feel like over the last few years that you've been making more and more, you've stepped into this like very impressive leadership role on sets. And not just on sets, but like just in general as an artist, I feel like your confidence with your own vision has solidified a lot more than it was when I met you.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the stuff that you were making even then was clearly like a confident vision and tone that has been consistent through the stuff that you're making now, but you safeguarded the creation of it in a lot of ways because you were making them by yourself. And now watching you on sets, working with a team of 20 or 30 people, or like, in these larger projects that you've been doing, the way that you command a set, the way that you command a room, the way that you talk about your vision with like a clear, authoritative voice. I'm sure that you feel it somewhat internally, but I don't know how often you talk about it. But I would love to know like how it feels to be able to step into those shoes and kind of know with a couple tools under your belt now, like, oh no, I am this like woman who can take charge and really speak my vision into existence.
Yeah. I thank you for saying it. Feels amazing because I feel like my confidence as a person has grown and it's reflected through my work. I think ultimately all of those sort of insecurities I used to have as a filmmaker were because I was insecure in myself and I didn't feel confident in myself to speak up and take charge on even in like with beyond like creating personal work, like as a freelancer, like advocating for myself. I'm making more money now because I advocate for myself more, and people don't question it because they feel that I'm confident about it. And those little things make such a difference in your day to day as a creative. Is like we have to be confident. We have to. I think it's the single most important thing that a creative can be is confident. Because if we're not confident in ourselves, who's going to be confident in us? I think it's very clear. So after I got my hair cut, that's when things changed. I swear. I swear. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that you noticed it because I feel it too. And I have changed for the better so much. And each day has been, learning experience. Like it's taken a lot of stress and turmoil and like inner turmoil, outer turmoil to get to where I want to be. And I'm still not where I want to be. Every day I get a little closer, and it'll be a lifelong process, I'm sure. But I feel it immensely.
Hell yeah. So what's next for you in terms of like, do you feel like the next project that you make is going to be focusing on the directing, or is writing the trajectory that you really want to go into? Obviously, I know you said you like acting, but you're more interested in stepping behind the camera for the next one. But like, do you view yourself first and foremost as a writer or as a director? And like, what is the focus for the next project of like, how do I want to showcase myself?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've actually been trying to figure that out myself because I feel like in your Instagram bio, people like put like director, writer, editor. So right now mine says director, writer, editor, and I feel like 3 is like the absolute max I can do. Right, like I can do more, but it's overkill if I do more. So I try to almost compartmentalize it in my brain like that as well. It's like, what are my top 3? What do I want to be? Who am I right now, and what do I want to be? I'm trying to get away from editing a little bit. It's what pays my bills, so I can't escape it. But I think as a storyteller, I use my knowledge of editing to make my directing and my writing stronger. So I think that's what I'm leaning into moving forward is directing and writing. And then acting when I get the chance, but I'm not, I don't audition for things. It's not really the biggest passion of mine. I love it and I appreciate the craft of it immensely, but I don't have specific goals for acting at the moment. I think
you're not trying to be an actor in someone else's project. You'll act in yours.
Yeah, I'll act in mine. I think I'll have smaller roles in mine going forward instead of being the main character, so I can be more in that directing mindset. But yeah, I think writing and directing feels pretty equal for me right now. But if one had the edge, it would be directing.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think directing is where I can really craft the story and see the vision through. Writing feels like a really strong and important blueprint. And then I can, as a director, take that blueprint and make it exactly what it needs to be. So I enjoy and appreciate both processes, but I think I do a little bit better when I already have the blueprint.
Yeah.
And I can like perfect it from there in a way. And in that, I like me being the one that writes the blueprint. But I also will gladly direct someone else's script if I feel connected to the story. I just happen to more so enjoy writing them.
Yeah. Do you because I talked about this in, I think, a past episode, but, I find it very difficult to identify myself categorize myself as an artist. Although I probably first and foremost call myself an actor because that's what I do for work.
Yeah.
But I think that we as a culture have like categorized all these things to make it easier for people to sort of like, I guess, understand or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a writer and a director is not that different from a creative standpoint in terms of like it's just 2 different ways to articulate the same creative output that you're trying to make. Yeah. And I like to not define myself in certain ways because I think it makes it harder for me to believe that I am something if I call myself the other thing. But in the industry, you kind of have to, because people can't be like, oh, well, they're an artist, so we can put them in any role. And it's like, no, people need to know what it is that you do so
Yeah.
they can put you into the slot,
Yeah.
that they need for their work. So it's like it's a weird space to be in, because like I have to call myself an actor, or I have to call myself a writer, or a painter.
Mm-hmm.
But really, like I like to sculpt, and I like to direct, and I like to do these other things as well.
It's really not. It's like,
it's not.
I think we feel the pressure to make it that, but ultimately, I think most creatives can, flow a little bit this way and flow a little bit that way, and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, it's like when you're a creative, you just are a creative. But it's easier when it's work that you do alone.
Yeah.
When it's work you have to collaborate with, and like people need to know their roles.
Yeah, of course, of course. When you have more people involved, that's when you do need to be very clear on what everybody's doing. But when you're just creating with yourself, there's no label on it. You're like, I'm just making this thing. I don't know what I'm doing. I guess I'm directing. I guess I'm writing. I guess I'm doing everything, but I'm just really just making it.
Yeah, just a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Just making the project.
Yeah.
Do you have any like nightmare scenarios of projects that you've made that were just like a terrible experience, or totally didn't work out, fell flat on its face, or like never even made it out the door?
Not really. No, I think I haven't. I think that's going to come eventually. I don't think I've experienced it quite yet. I've had experiences that I've like definitely learned from, and have been difficult, executing on. Like when we did Bare Minimum, that was like 6 to 8 months of just straight up bare minimum all day long. Eat, sleep, breathe it. And it got very overwhelming towards the end. And I think, it was a huge learning for me, though, is that like you're doing something like that we were doing with no budget at all. So that's why it was taking so much time from my brain space, is because we were doing so many things. And so I think, but again, that's like, I kind of felt that way with Meatball. I need to learn my lesson. I feel like I should have learned it by now. I'm going to on the next one, but I think.
Well, Bare Minimum, I feel like was such an amazing, unique experience to sort of see how to create like a narrative storyline over the like a TV show, basically.
Yeah, it was a TV show.
How to like create a show over the course of all this time, and to get so much goodwill from so many people who wanted to be a part of a project.
Yeah.
And then again, this is sort of one of those lightning in a bottle 368 things that just like don't exist really outside of that kind of environment, where you have that many people who are willing and excited to be a part of a project for free and just want to be a part of the community that's making the thing. But I mean, watching you and our friend Danny make that project, every episode of that project was very exciting to see, because it was like messy because there was no budget, but you guys spent so much time clearly trying to build a story out of a no budget messy sort of idea, and in like such a fast pace. You say it took 7 or 8 months, but it was really fast paced. I mean, you made how many episodes?
We made 4.
Yeah, like 4 episodes in like 7 months with no money.
And essentially, they were like, if you added commercials, it's a real TV show episode that you're looking at.
Oh yeah,
which is crazy. And we were producing like one of those every month and a half, 2 months. So there was a time I think we did one. I think we did 2 in 2 months at one point. Like it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
I mean, even just being a part of it, the little that I was like, this is like big, big leagues without, but you don't have the cleats,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. But it was like, looking back on it, it had its stressful moments, of course, but like that was my first real project. I feel like, I think of my portfolio as a filmmaker, as a director and a writer, like Bare Minimum is really the first true one that I feel like I have from like a traditional filmmaking standpoint, even though how we made it was anything but traditional. That's kind of how it felt. So it's a killer first project in my opinion.
It's freaking awesome.
We killed it. It was incredible. I couldn't be more proud of it looking back on it. And when it was you know, when we were posting and the momentum for it was so great, it felt so amazing to see all the support that we had from people that were in the show and just genuinely wanted to be a part of it. And then from people that weren't in the show, but really were tuning in to watch it every single month or whatever, whenever it was coming out. So overall, it was really cool, really formative for me as a filmmaker.
Yeah, I think it was such an amazing experience to watch you make, and I feel like I imagine for both of you and for myself included, like it was a huge. I learned so much about how sort of what it takes.
Yeah.
You know, when you don't have endless money to
Yeah.
just make things happen how you want, like what it really takes to make something happen.
Yeah,
You
absolutely. And I was co-directing. Danny and I were co-doing everything basically.
Oh yeah.
So it's going from that to doing Meatball and just being on my own, I was definitely a little nervous because I didn't have somebody by my side to like let me know, you know, to like confer with basically about decisions. Like it was all me. But I'm glad that I had that experience because it gave me the confidence that I needed to execute on the next project. So I feel like it all builds towards the greater good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is that, like, you know, working with a partner is amazing in some ways, but also it's limiting in other ways because when you make a big swing and you hit, you get to indulge in the success together, but you also have the luxury of, like, when you make a big swing and you miss, you don't have to feel the full responsibility for it because you're doing it together.
Sure.
Whereas, like, when you do it completely alone,
it's all you.
It's all you.
Yeah.
Every big swing is entirely your success, and every big miss is entirely your failure.
Yeah, it's true.
What do you feel like? I mean, I don't think from an outside perspective, and I'm sure many of the people who follow you and love the work that you make, there hasn't been many failures from the outside perspective, but I imagine that you have some that you view as failures. What are some of the failures that you've experienced that have, like, taught you some of the lessons that you have, and, like, yeah, and what did you learn from them?
Not to sound like self-righteous or anything, but I really don't feel like I've had any failures. And that's because I just don't think of it in that way. I think it's like kind of a cliche, but it feels more of like a lesson, right? So like, I guess if you had to, you know, quantify it, like all the money I could have made as a freelancer that I didn't could probably buy me a house. But I didn't know how to negotiate. I didn't know how to advocate for myself. So on paper, that could seem like a failure, right? But to me, it's like I had to go through that to understand how to, you know, up my income a little bit. And it's still not where I want to be, but, like, it's hard. It takes time. It takes a lot of time to hone in on those skills. So, like, that's something that I'm working on every single day when I have new clients popping up, is, like, advocating for myself as a creative and as a employee, even though I'm not an employee, but you know what I mean. So that's probably what stands out to me the most, I think, interestingly enough, is, like, not as a failure, but, like, my biggest lesson that I need to learn and continue to learn is just speaking up confidently in a business standpoint. I think business is what I'm really trying to work on more.
Yeah, I totally get that, dude. I'm not good as a business person, but no creatively minded person is usually the best business person.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I said this to my friend Ryan when he was here, but I was in a class when I was in my acting program, and one of our teachers taught us this class called The Business of Acting. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that she taught us was, you know, if you look at like any company and the positions in a company, you know, at the very top, you have your CEO and your CFO and your COO and your, you know, PR person and your HR person and your marketing team, and you have all the different things. And when you are a creative living in the city, you have to be every one of those things.
Yeah.
And if you don't like break them into separate categories and then schedule your time out to be like, all right, I'm going to put on my CFO hat for the next 2 hours and break down the financial responsibilities I have for myself and for the business and what I need to make this month to do this, I'm not going to be able to do it. And then if I have to take that off and, like, put on the artist thing, and, like, if I don't actually make the artist content, the creative work of it, then I have no business at all. But, like, you know, for myself, I can only speak for myself, but I imagine it's not unique. I only want to wear the artist hat most of the time.
100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So and then all the other stuff falls by the wayside, the PR, the social media team, the marketing, whatever. Like I don't have a lot of interest in that part, so I have to force myself to do it. But it's only like, it should be, you know, maybe 10% or 20% of my time should be dedicated to that, and it's more like 5%.
Yeah. I feel the same way. But I do also think I want to be wearing that artist hat more than any other hat, but I do have an appreciation for some of the others. Like I am a deeply logical person, so and to me, like the business aspect of things feels like kind of like a puzzle, you know, figuring out, and like when I can figure out how to crack that code, I feel like I'm almost unstoppable as a creative, right? So I do have a lot of interest to learn more about that side. Like it does excite me a little bit. I think I also just have like an entrepreneurial spirit in me through my dad as well. My dad was an entrepreneur. So I saw many waves of success and failures within his own businesses growing up. So I do think I have an appreciation for it. I do want to wear that hat more though. But yeah.
It's cool that you got to see that though, to see that someone like, you know, build something from nothing, and then you see it at its height and it's doing great, and then it maybe ends or falls apart, or they change their decision about what they want to do, and then they build another thing from nothing.
My dad grew up on food stamps, and then at one point of his life driving an Audi R5, whatever the really nice one is, and then probably realized he shouldn't have bought the Audi. But that's probably because he grew up on food stamps and wasn't, you know, he got this money at a like a one point of his life that he had none, and so he probably didn't know the best way to maybe spend it. Sure, so he had a little fun with it. But I saw that though. I saw like being responsible with your success and being irresponsible with your success. So because I remember growing up and seeing him do so well at one point at, you know, the Audi time. And then just a few years later, he's struggling to figure out what to do next. And like the things that he built kind of fell, and this was actually a bit before his passing, but like the things that he spent all these years building had kind of fell apart. And that in a way kind of like really, I don't want to say destroyed, but like that hurt him. And I know it hurt him a lot. So growing up and seeing my father experience that, I was like, well, now, especially now as an adult, trying to make my own business and just succeed and improve, I think of that all the time.
Yeah,
it's very, very important to me.
It's an eye-opening sentiment to share, because, you know, growing up, my dad was you know, an actor living in a cockroach-infested apartment in New York, and working as a butler for the whatever you call it, the representative of Australia or something, or Austria in the city, and then like working as a bartender at night, and then like sneaking in auditions and whatever, like sleeping at the YMCA, and then he started working more, and then he started a career in voiceover and became successful in the VO world, and then like was successful my whole younger childhood in that world, and then stopped working and hasn't really worked since. But to see that, like, when you find success and you build yourself to this thing, it doesn't mean you're there now.
Yeah.
Like you have to keep it,
right,
or you have to accept that like it might ebb and flow.
Yes.
In this way.
Absolutely.
And in our industry, especially, and in this time of like the world, the economic situation that we're in this country, and the fact that everything is uncertain and no one knows if they can afford a house, and college is so expensive, and groceries are expensive, and home prices and cars and whatever, like everything is impossible to do. And I think that having that mentality at the age that we are, to know that anything I have right now, it's not like I started here and I climbed so hard to get to here, and now that I'm here I can just sit and then like I only can go higher. Like you might lose it all again. Yeah. You know?
Absolutely. I constantly have that in the back of my mind. It's like the safety net doesn't exist to me, which is scary, but also a motivator to work hard.
Yeah.
in my
And to
opinion.
enjoy it, like, while you're doing it.
Yeah,
You know?
it's all about the journey. The journey, it's never ending. Like, we are constantly, and I think about that all the time because of my dad. I'm like, wow, he was, 20 years older than me at the peaks of his career probably, and I'm like, wow, it's so much time to improve and get better, but then also so much time for things to go wrong as well. So we just have to show up every day as best as we can, and know that what we did that day was our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and like, going back to what you said earlier, it's really about having fun doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you're enjoying it while you do. I mean, nobody goes into this creative industry to make a lot of money
No,
or become
no.
successful. They do it because it makes them happier than doing anything else.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I mean, if you don't find it fun, then go get a job at a company. You know, like, go do something.
Go make more
else.
money somewhere
It'll
else.
be easier and
Yeah,
more comfortable.
Truly, yeah.
But I would rather live in an RV and do what I love to do all the time than live in a mansion, from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. and then be in an office from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yeah.
You know,
I hear that.
it's just be the master of your own destiny, you know?
Yeah. Try.
It's fun.
Try.
We can either end here, or I can ask one more question, because I do want to know.
We're chilling.
We are at, let's see where we're at right now. We're in an hour.
Yeah,
about.
whatever.
You mentioned earlier that one of the subjects that you really feel like you are interested in talking about, making projects about and stuff. You had mentioned that you feel like you were equipped to talk about grief, but you also mentioned that you were equipped to talk about friendship.
Mm.
It's something that you feel like you could speak on. I'm curious what your sort of overall philosophies and, like, ideas about what friendship is to you are. How do you define it? How have you come to define it? And, like, where did that come from?
I'm still learning, I think, as we all are, but I think of, like, my 3 best friends ever, and I've been friends with them. My longest friend, Natalie, been best friends with her for 20 to 22 years now, I think, or something like that.
Whoa.
And then my 2 other best friends, it's like 10 to 15 years. So I've gone through so much with these people, and we've stuck together, and I just love them, and I know they love me so much and care for me. And I think coming to New York City as well, meeting so many people, I feel like people tell me all the time, they're like, oh, you have so many friends. I'm like, I don't really think I do, actually. Like, I have a small handful of friends, but other than that, it's just people that I pass by, or, like, I know because I know them from someone else that I know. Like, it's really hard to actually make friends up here, I've learned since moving up here, and I constantly refer to, like, my hometown best friends as a measure of what a healthy, successful friendship looks like to me. So it's like showing up when they need you, and genuinely caring, and really, like, celebrating your success with you, but not really giving a shit whether or not you succeed is also important. Because I think there was, like, I was listening to a podcast about this, actually, but, like, it's hard to sustain a friendship when you become, not that I'm majorly successful or famous or anything, but, like, I've taken that step to move to New York City and pursue my dreams. So my life is different than some of my hometown friends, because while they're not at home, they're pursuing other things. They're not pursuing creative means. So I think what I do can, like, appear flashy, or, like, if I win an award, I post about it, or I go to an event, I post about it. It looks fun and it looks cool, and it is. But I think it's easy for people to be like, oh, your life's so cool, or, like, compare. And then I'm like, it's really, like, it's social media. Like, it's okay. Like, it's, we're all just doing our thing. And I think real friends, like I said, they don't care. They don't care what event that you went to. They don't care if you won any awards. They just love you. And that's what I've always felt with those friends. Natalie, Madison, Sam, the homies. They're just the best. Like, they care about me. They don't care about anything else I do. They care about it, and they applaud if something cool happens, just as I would do the same for them. But it's just as on a human level, we just care for each other.
What do you find about the people that you wouldn't describe as like a friend at the level that they are? What do you find that is like the most common sort of determining issue that you find with friends that like you can't get to that level of friendship with?
Yeah. It's for me, it's a unique case because, being like involved in like the creative content community in New York City, a lot of the people you meet and the friends you make do the same thing that you do. Like everybody's kind of doing the same sort of thing. So I think it becomes, to me, I don't view it this way, but like I think it can feel a bit competitive sometimes, where it's like we're happy for our friends, but we also kind of sometimes maybe wish that we got that opportunity instead, which is not, it's not impossible to form good, meaningful friendships, but I think it's a little bit harder because our shared experiences are a lot of times like accolades or viral moments. It's like, oh yeah, I saw your video went viral. No way, mine went viral too. Oh, so cool. And that for me is like a little bit harder to like reach the inner core of who somebody is because you have that kind of wall up in front.
It's like presentational.
A little bit. And that's not to say that every connection that I have in the city is like that. I'm lucky that I have, a few meaningful friendships up here.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a lot of people I meet where it doesn't feel like we can reach that point of our friendship. And not because, for my fault or their fault, but just because it's kind of the nature of the beast a little bit. So you just pick who you feel is worth like clawing through in a way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I find it certainly in the content kind of world, where everybody is the producer of this little network of content that they make.
Yeah.
That it often feels very much like your first and foremost priority is, making the work that you make or doing the job that you're doing. And then secondarily to that is your relationship with me. And I find oftentimes with some people that they won't make the time to see me unless it is involved in some content production thing.
Yeah.
Like the only way I can convince you to see me or the only way you're interested in spending the time is if it is productive for your
podcast.
What?
You invite me on your podcast.
Well,
No,
yes,
I'm
we also hang out.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I mean, totally.
No,
I would not hang out with you otherwise. But you know what I mean?
I know totally what you mean.
Where it's very much like, oh, I'll see you if you're taking me to this event, or I'll see you if you like want to help me work on this video.
Yeah.
But you won't just like come and have a beer with me at a thing and like not film it or not post about it or whatever.
Yeah, it makes the stories, and like sometimes I'll hang out with someone who makes a story. I'm like, I looked so ugly that night. Like I'm not prepared to be on camera. I mean, I'm most often not prepared to be on camera. Even today, I like don't know how my hair is looking, but that's just how the person I am. But
you got your gray Uniqlo shirt and your girlfriend's pants.
Amazing, I know. but I hear you though. I feel like it's harder to make closer, meaningful friendships up here and in this industry. It's not impossible, but it's harder.
Yeah. Well, I think too that it's, anyone who has like a regular 9-to-5 job, if they're hanging out with you after 5, they're hanging out with you. They're done with work.
Yeah,
when
exactly.
you work in this industry, you're
yeah.
always working.
Right.
Like it only stops if you want it to stop.
Yeah.
And if you feel like it can't because you have to do the thing, then it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to know when someone is committed to seeing you because they want to see you, or if they want to see you because then it gives them an activity to post about or share about, or whatever. And
I also feel like sometimes it can feel like a bit transactional almost, where like there are so many people that I see and they're great and I want to get to know them more and I want to be more friendly with them, but our conversations always revolve around the work that we're doing, and it's work, but it's also play because it's what we love to do. Right. So it's like, but then I think about it, I'm like, you don't know my middle name. You don't know, I don't even know if you know my last name. You don't know my birthday. Like, you don't really know about me. You know about me as a filmmaker.
And how I can be of use to you. Like
Yes,
it is,
sure. At times, like, and I'm the type of person, like, I'm happy to lend a helping hand because it's fun. And selfishly, also, like, if I need some help, like, I want to feel like I have people to ask to help me.
Yeah.
It's true. That's a true aspect of it. But I also do want to be able to, like, get into the inner workings of who that person actually is a little bit more. But it's difficult to. The line between work and life is blurred. So you don't often talk about life because you're too busy talking about work because it's fun and it's play.
Which is, it's funny because I feel like all I try to do is make work talking about life because that's like all I really am interested in.
Yeah.
People are my favorite thing. I mean, I've told you this
Yes.
before, but like people are my absolute favorite thing. And if I had to choose between making a lot of money and being successful or like having meaningful relationships with the people that are in my life, like I would choose that every time.
Yeah.
I care a lot more. I think like you said about your 3 best friends, like it's just about being there. Like the number one thing, most important thing about life is being there for the significant moments of the people that you love. And if you choose to do something else that advances your career or whatever your priority is, instead of being there for those moments, then your relationships are going to suffer and you're going to advance in your career, and that's what you're going to get.
It's true.
It's the dog that you feed is the one that's the strongest.
It's true. And I'm shocked at how much my dad has come up in this conversation, and it's a good thing. I'm happy to talk about him. But I remember the morning that he passed, I gave my friends a call to like let them know, like, hey, I don't know how to say this, but unfortunately my dad passed this morning. And within an hour or less, and this was at 8 a.m. in the morning, my friends are driving down. We're in college at the time. Freshman year. Friends are driving down from, Sam was in Gainesville, so it was like a 6-hour drive for her. She's driving down. Madison's in Orlando. She's driving down. And it was just like, in the midst of my sadness, I felt so much joy and so much love from these friends that just were like, it doesn't matter to me what I have to do this weekend. It doesn't matter to me anything. I'm just going to be there for you. I'm just going to sit here with you. We didn't do anything. We just sat there, and I like sat on the couch, lifeless. I fell asleep for hours. I remember on my friend Madison's couch at one point, and I was just like, I don't know. There's nothing. I'm not here. I'm not here to laugh. I have nothing to say or add to this, interaction. You came down here to literally sit in silence with me, but they were more than happy to do it. And that to me is like, that's friendship.
Yeah.
That's honestly family at that point. But
yeah, no, I mean
it's a beautiful thing.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's something. My sister had a medical thing that she had to deal with just a couple days ago, and one of my best friends called me. I didn't even tell him about it. His mom found out and told him, and then he called me within like an hour, and he was like, "Am I getting on a plane? Like, do I have to get on a plane?" And I explained to him, like, no, it's not that bad. But the fact that he instantaneously, like, without any thought, was like, I'm gonna be there if you need me to be there. And that is like the golden rule of life.
Yeah. To
me, it's the most important thing that anybody can do. And when you have people like that, there's this thing about like the love bank. I don't remember who coined it, but it's some like psychology book or something. My mom told me about it because she was getting her master's in psychology and she read this book and she told me about it. But it's this thing called the love bank where like it's like a transactional love bank that you have with your relationships with your partner or with your friends. And like say for example, if you and I get into a fight or I hurt you in some way, that, call it like, $10 or whatever, that's like $10 out of the love bank. And if I do something kind for you, or something that's meaningful to you, that's like $1 or $2 in the love bank. because when someone hurts you or betrays you, it costs a little bit more in terms of your trust with them.
For sure.
And so the goal with your friendships and your relationships is to like always be depositing into the love bank with that person, so that when they need to be there for you, they have like an overflow
Yeah.
of availability and love for you, because you've been filling it for years, you know? And there's certain people in my life, like they're at a moment when they really need me, but they have not fed, you know, they've not deposited into the bank for me for a long time.
Yeah.
So like if I go out of my way to be there for them, I'm you know, taking out loans to be there.
Yeah.
You know, and it's emotionally taxing for me. But when you're with someone who constantly is filling that love bank with you, the second they need you, it's easy because I have an overflow. Like I'll deposit half the bank and I still have more than I do with half the people in my life, you know?
Yeah. I love
so like
that.
it's easy for me to give it back to you, you know? And it's like a constant investment in your relationships of like, if you call me, I'll pick up. And if I can't pick up, I will text you and tell you when I can.
Yeah.
If you little things too, like if you tell me like, oh, I saw this movie, it reminded me of you. I really thought you would like it. And then the next time you see each other, like a month later, you bring it up and they're like, oh no, I never saw it. I never watched it. I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, but like even little things like that, where if you recommend, like I talk about this with Gianni, almost every single time, if I recommend something to him, he watches it like immediately.
Watches it, yeah.
And then the next time we see him, he'll talk about it with me. And it's that like little thing where he fills a little bit of the bank.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, you valued the thing that I had to say. You took the time to appreciate it because I thought you would.
You didn't just yes me.
And then blow it off it doesn't mean anything. And it's those tiny little things that like builds these friendships that are like your Madison and Sam and
Natalie. Yeah.
You know, everyone needs to find a Madison and a Sam and a Natalie.
They do. I need to text them. This conversation. I think I need to give them a call. Say, hey, it's hard. You get caught up with like life and you know.
But that too is this like, high maintenance friends and low maintenance friends.
Yeah,
you know?
They're super low maintenance.
Yeah, one of my best friends in the world, who I think you've met also, is Grant, and he is like the lowest maintenance friend I have in my life. Like we can go 3-4 months without talking because he's busy and I'm busy and whatever, and then the next he does never like, oh, like, are you mad at me, or like you still like, like you haven't seen each other in so long.
It's so important.
Yeah,
it's like, and it's okay for your friend to ask if they're mad at you. Of course, if you're feeling that, like, you should say it, but also there should be a level of trust that like we don't need to talk, however, you know, every waking minute of the day or whatever. And because if that's how the friendship is being fed, it's an insecure place that it's being fed from, versus like a low maintenance friendship is kind of like, sounds like the most healthy version of a friendship.
Yeah. Well, it's just an idea. It's like a perfect amount of trust.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I know that you love me because you love me.
Yes.
And I love you because I love you. And I never wonder if the fact that we haven't seen each other or spoken in a couple of weeks is because you don't love me. I know you do. Yeah. Can only ever assume that it's because you're busy.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the best feeling in the world with a friendship. You know?
Not feeling like you have to cater to it all the time. Yeah.
I feel like we should wrap it up.
Sure.
Because I think this is a good time to end it. It was on Madison and Natalie and Sam.
I'm gonna have to tell them to watch this.
Yeah, well, we're gonna give you a call. Well, you'll probably just give them a call, but you're gonna get a call.
You'll have to clip this one down. I'll just send it to them.
Yeah. So I'll do it and be like, here you are. You're gonna get a call right now. Alex, thank you so much for coming on and doing this. I know it's been a long time coming to finally like make this happen, but I value you so much as an artist, and you inspire me a lot, and as a friend. But yeah, thank you for coming on. If you want to tell anyone and everyone who may or may not see this where they can find you, what you're up to, and all that other shit, do that.
Also, thank you, Mickey. I really appreciate you having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
A lot of fun. I love to yap. Sometimes I like word vomit. I'm like, it's okay with Mickey.
Oh yeah, no, please do it.
You can find me on Instagram at A Robinson Film. TikTok, I think I think it's A Robinson Films _. I'm bad with my TikTok. YouTube is my name, Alexandra Robinson. I mean, yeah, pretty much just look up my name. It is a basic name, but you'll find me eventually. Just look for my little face. Yeah, stay tuned because I'm excited for what's ahead. There's going to be a lot more storytelling in the future. So keep tabs.
Heck yeah. Keep tabs, everybody.
Keep tabs.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
See you.